Hey guys, welcome to Tabletop Warbands! Let's continue exploring Into the Dark. In today's video we play Orcs against Genestealers. I'm Simone and I'll play the Orcs.
Hi, I'm Andrea and I will play the Genestealers. Before we started, if you're subscribed to the channel, welcome back. If you're not subscribed yet and want to help us, join a growing community now by clicking on the subscribe button. And don't forget to activate the bell so you don't miss the next battle reports. Thank you guys!
Today's mission is Desperate Raid. The two kill teams will have to deploy within these two areas. There are 5 points of interest and they are arranged in this way. The goal of the attacking kill team is to extract resources by taking an action on these 2 points. The one of the defender instead is to prevent it. In order to perform the resource extraction, however, all 3 other points of interest must have the status on.
Victory points will be awarded at the end of the game based on the number of actions performed by the attacker. Each action will increase the attacker's victory points and reduce those of the defender. The game will last 4 turns. Both armies start with 2 command points, earning 1 point at the start of each round.
My orcs have taken over the corridors of an abandoned ship and are scavenging from top to bottom for resources. A group of dirty competitors is trying to steal the resources that the orcs have worked hard to obtain. We won't let them do it. The kill team is composed of a Nob armed with Power Claw and Slagga. Then we have the Rocket Boy, Comms Boy and a Sneaky Grot whose job will be to reach points of interest to keep them off. Next in line we have the Slasha Boy and Breacha Boy. The latter's ability to walk through walls is perfect for Into the Dark. Then there are the Sniper Boy, the Dakka Boy and the Burner Boy. And finally the most important operative, a Squeak Bomb. As additional equipment I assigned an harpoon to the Comms, a sledgehammer to the Burner Boy and a smoke grenade to the Slasha Boy.
A cargo ship adrift in space has been sighted. Inside there will certainly be valuable resources for the cult. It is vitally important that you manage to take everything you can, but be careful. It seems that also a group of orcs is inside to raid the ship. My kill team is formed by 12 operatives. The commander of the team is a neophyte leader equipped with bolt pistol and power pick. Then there are 2 cult agent operatives specialized in melee combat, Locus and Sanctus Talon. Next in line are the 2 heavy gunners, one armed with a heavy stabber and the other with a seismic cannon. Following we have 2 more gunners, a flamer and a grenade launcher. To keep the morale high, there's an Igon Bearer equipped with autogun. And lastly, we have 4 neophyte brood adults, 2 of them equipped with autogun and the others with shotgun. As additional equipment, I gave a cult talisman to the leader, the grenade launcher, the flamer and the seismic cannon. Then I gave a cult knife to the adults equipped with the shotgun.
I've decided to deploy my orcs so they can cover both directions possible. The Commando Nob will move as fast as possible towards the enemy to block his advance in the lower part of the map, and together with him will be the Comms and the Slasha Boy. The center of the map will instead be controlled by the Sniper and the Dakka Boy. During the deployment I spend a command point to be able to place the Burner Boy outside my drop zone, and I place it in an extremely strategic point, just outside the corridor that the Genestealers will want to take.
I deployed my team in order to try to control as many pipes as I can and be able to reach the tank's ancient apparatus as fast as possible. On the right there are the grenade launcher together with Sanctus, the leader, and the 2 adepts with the autogun. On the left there's the rest of the team, Locus, both the heavy gunners, the flamer, and the 2 adepts with shotgun.
It's time to do the scouting phase. Each of us chooses a number of dice equal to the corresponding number of the choice, 1 for Fortify, 2 for Infiltrate and 3 for Recon. Green dice for the Orcs and orange dice for the Genestealers. I chose Infiltrate while Andrea chose Recon. This means that the initiative will be mine.
Recon lets me dash with an operative, so Whitson dashes 3 inches forward.
In the strategy phase I use the strategic ploy Shh for a command point, thanks to which I can make a dash action with my models hidden or out of the enemy's line of sight. So everyone. The first to dash is the Burner Boy, who positions itself in the center of the corridor intersection, ready to open fire on the enemies. In my drop zone, my Commando Nob and his orcs advance 3 inches towards the crates. They'll have a long way to go before they can reach the doors in front of them, so better start moving. The sooner they get there, the better. The Breacha Boy can walk through walls as if they weren't there, so he goes to the opposite side, while the others stay where they are, waiting to be able to open the door.
I spend 1 command point for this strategic ploy meticulous plan. Each time a friendly operative is activated, if it has a concealed order, he can perform a mission action for free. Then I reveal the faction TAC Op 1, nowhere unreachable. Simone has to place a location token anywhere in the kill zone that is more than 6 inches from his drop zone. If at the end of the turning point a friendly operative is within 1 inch of the token, I gain 1 victory point.
I place the marker at the farthest point possible for Andrea to reach. The first to activate is the Sniper Boy, who opens the door and positions himself behind the pipe to have a view of the entire room.
The grenade launcher, Vince, with his movement reaches the door and opens it. Then gets to the control panel and turns it on thanks to the free mission action.
Urgalik the Flamer is in a perfect position, so all he does is change his order to engage, thanks to infiltrate from the scouting phase, and goes on guard.
Carl uses movement and dash to reach the door in front of him and opens it with his third action.
Walkie the Comms, thanks to his ability, gives an APL to the Rocket Boy, then moves forward towards the door.
To avoid the Flamer in the hole, Wilson dashes to get closer to the door, and then, with his movement, goes to hide behind the tank and does the mission action Siphon Resource for free. Since the Adepts have group activation too, I can activate Sid, who uses movement and dash to reach the door.
Ayek the Rocket Boy now has 3 actions, so he uses them to move, dash, and open the door that leads to the other room.
The 2 Adepts, Stuart and Joe, use movement and dash to reach the door in front of them.
Toby the Groth uses his grappling hook ability and flies straight into the other room next to the dynamo. Once there, he performs the action on the point of interest and turns it off, in order to prevent the Genestealers from obtaining more resources.
Since my leader has nothing to do, he uses his movement to reach the crates near the door.
Norod the Knob gives an additional APL to the Slasher Boy, then moves to the door in front of him and opens it, finally arriving near the corridor where the Flamer is.
Alan the Flamer uses movement and dash to reach the middle of the room.
Duruk the Slasher Boy, thanks to the additional action given by the Knob, can reach the door with movement and dash and open it.
Brick uses movement and dash to go beside Alan.
Boom! The Squig doesn't want to be left behind, so with movement and dash he joins his friends near the door.
Butch with movement and dash goes between the Flamer and the Seismic Cannon.
Greg the Breacher Boy crosses the room with movement and dash, and thanks to his ability he can go through the wall and get to the other side.
The Icon Bearer, Nick, uses movement and dash to reach the control panel.
Glood is the last orc left to activate. Looking for a better position in which to place himself, the Daka Boy joins the Sniper in the other room.
The Locus, also known as Diego, uses movement and dash and positions himself in front of the door.
The first round went by rather quickly, with my orcs reaching forward positions ready to open fire on the unsuspecting Genestealers. The position of my Flamer is perfect. Thanks to him I have control of the main corridor, and I can force Andrea to move with caution. But now I have to start eliminating some models of him from the battlefield.
Well, these orcs are really a pain in the neck. Simone managed to block both the entrances to the objectives with the Breacher Boy and the Burner Boy. Luckily, I did my first mission action before the Groth turned off the dynamo, so it's a little bit easier now. In the next turn, I absolutely need to take the initiative to start eliminating a few orcs before they reach me in melee. Rolling for initiative. Yes! The initiative is mine!
Ah, damn. The initiative is yours this turn. In the strategy phase, none of us have ploys to use or tac ops to reveal, so let's jump right into the firefight phase.
Vince changes his order and engage, moves and... oh, look! A bomb squig in the middle of the orcs. It would be a shame if he exploded and damaged all his friends. Vince points his grenade launcher and shoots a crack grenade on the squig. 4 dice at 4+. Just a6. I can reroll all the dice with the same number, all the 2 in this case, thanks to the ability Cult Ambush. 2 hits total.
2 dice at 6 to save. Ouch, not even 1. If the squig dies with my models around, it's trouble for me, so I use deploy just a scratch for a command point, thanks to which I can ignore the wounds suffered from an attack. Boom is safe, but remains with only 2 wounds and is injured. At least it didn't explode. I almost lost too many models at once. I'd say it's best not to give Andrea another chance, so I move the squig right in front of the door. Okay, you can shoot him now.
No thank you. Sid promptly closes the door as soon as the squig reaches it. The other adept to activate is Wilson, that takes a few steps back and then shoots the squig 4 shots at 4+. None. Luckily he can reroll the 2s thanks to the Cult Ambush. 1 crit and 1 normal hit.
3 dice at 6, come on, boom! No way, the poor squig blows up with a little poof, hitting no one else. Since you closed the door, my Flamer moves in front of it and positions himself on guard again. I dare you to open the door now, go ahead.
Alan moves to the door in front of him and opens it.
Turuk is close enough to charge the poor Genestealer left alone next to the point of interest. I guess it's time to show him some orc kindness. 4 attacks at 3+. thanks to the relentless rule, I can reroll failed dice. 3 hit.
Whitson responds with 3 attacks at 4+, hitting only 1.
The Slasha uses the first dice to defend against the Genestealer's only attack, then with the remaining 2 dice, it slices the victim into a pulp.
Well, you did your part. The cult thanks you.
Having eliminated an enemy model within 1 inch, I can reveal the attack of Rob and Ransack, for which I score 1 victory point. At the end of the game, if my Slasha is still alive, I can score another 1.
I need the Breacher Boy to stay where he is, so Stuart opens the door and runs to hide behind the barrel. Joe instead moves beside the wall and goes on guard.
Wookie uses his comms ability and gives the knob an APL, then moves by the door to get vision into the corridor.
Brick goes near the door, but since he can't shoot, he remains hidden behind the wall.
My sniper doesn't have any targets inside at the moment, so he changes his order to engage and sets on guard.
Nick changes his order to engage and moves slightly to the left to have the comms inside, then shoots him 4 shots at 4+. Rerolling the 1, 2 hits.
3 dice to defend a 5+. Okay, the comms is safe, everything's fine. Ayek moves forward to get a good line of sight on the Genestealer, then aims his rocket launcher and shoots him. 5 shots at 4+. Only 1 critical hit. Good aim, Rocket Boy.
Saving with 2 dice at 5+ for the -1 penetration. Nope, 6 wounds through. He's injured but still alive. Butch changes his order and engage, then dashes to his left and aims his heavy stabber to the Rocket Boy, making 5 shots at 4+. Rerolling the ones. A total of 2 crits and 2 normal hits. Good job, Brick!
I need 5+ to save it. My Rocket Boy was punished for aiming terribly wrong in his activation. Toby has no fighting skills, so scared he tries to get out of trouble and runs behind the door.
Manny changes his order and engage and moves beside the grenade launcher, then goes on guard.
The Daka Boy moves forward, and thanks to his ability to use a dash for free, he takes the place of the Rocket Boy. Arriving in a good position, he opens fire on the Genestealer in front of him, making 5 shots at 4+. All hit!
Don't even need to roll the saves, he's just gone. Diego changes his order and moves in front of the wall, then goes on guard.
Greg is in a good position, but isn't strong enough to fight the Locust yet, so he positions himself a little to the right, ready to move next turn.
I can't risk to open the door, so Carl passes his turn.
Norod is ready to fight. With an evil grin, he charges the Genestealer in the corridor and attacks him, making 4 hits at 3+. Hitting with all 4 attacks.
Vince responds with 3 attacks at 4+. Missing all. I believe he's just dead. Well, Manny tries to avenge his friend with the Overwatch and makes 4 shots at 4+. Hitting all!
The knob saves the dice on 4+. Oh, perfect! All defended. However, I couldn't defend an attack having only 3 dice available, so he suffers 3 wounds. Thanks to the APL given to him by the comms, the knob aims his Slugga and fires at the enemy leader, making 4 attacks at 4+. Just 2.
Manny saves with 3 dice at 5+. Right. My leader is left with 1 wound and is injured.
Having eliminated more models than Andrea, I reveal the attack of Execution. At the end of the game, I can score victory points by eliminating more models than my opponent for 2 or more turns.
Okay, this round was everything but good. My leader is almost dead and the Sanctus is blocked by that flamer behind the door. In the next round, I'll have to turn the dynamo on and try to do the mission action to gain victory points. If I should fail to do so, I'm afraid there will be nothing to do to win this game.
The second round went quite well for me. I managed to contain the movements of the Genestealers, preventing them from extracting further resources. If I manage to stop Andrea in the next round as well, the game will be mine. I have a head start, as I don't need to expose my models by putting them in dangerous positions trying to activate points of interest. I'm pretty confident I can handle the situation well. Rolling for initiative. 4 is good.
Yes, 6! The initiative is still mine. In the strategy phase, I spend 1 command point for the strategic ploy Brightening Ingress. I place a token on a terrain that is less than 1 inch thick, and until the end of the turn, my operatives can move through that obstacle like if it wasn't there. I place the token here. In the firefight phase, Diego changes his order in Conceal and dashes through the wall. Once on the other side, he uses his Barbed Tail on the Breacher Boy and makes 4 shots at 3+. Hitting 3.
I need 5+ to save him. Not even 1. The Breacher was left with only 1 wound. It wasn't what I expected for him, honestly.
With his last action, the Locust moves beside the location token.
As soon as he is activated, Norod shoots with his Laga against the opposing leader to put an end to his miserable life. 4 hits at 4+. Only one? What is this?
Manny saves with 3 dice at 5+. He's safe! Wow!
Not happy with having missed all these shots, the Nob charges the Genestealer, but having no actions available, he stands there and watches him.
Butch has the Daka Boy inside, so he shoots him 5 shots at 4+. Just 2 hits? Rerolling one with a common point. Another crit! Nice!
The Daka Boy saves at 5+. Oh, that's literally saving at 5+. I defend 1 critical hit and 1 normal hit. 4 wounds suffered, so 6 left.
You're so lucky. With his second action, the Heavy Stabber dashes behind the wall.
The Burna Boy continues his crusade against the door and puts himself on guard again.
Alan manages to reach the dynamo with his movement and turns it on with his second action.
Greg got nervous from the blows received by the Locus, so he feels the need to return the favor. Shooting with his Laga, he makes 4 shots at 5+ for the injury. 1 critical hit.
Diego saves with 3 dice at 4+. 2 normal saves are enough to block the crit, so no one's through.
Disappointed by the result, the Breacha charges the Genestealer into the other room, thanks to his ability to pass through walls.
Okay, it's time. Carl opens the door with his first action.
The door has finally opened! An ecstatic Urgalik interrupts his guard and lights the flamethrower, and then aims it at the newcomer. 5 hits at 3+. Only 2 critical hits. A little less exciting than I was hoping for.
Saving with 3 dice at 4+. Well, I thought worse. 7 wounds left. With the second action, Carl fights the Burna Boy through the ash and makes 4 attacks at 2+. With the rule lethal 4+, that is 4 critical hits.
The Burna Boy attacks with his sledgehammer I gave to him. 4 attacks at 3+.
Sanctus starts the fight dealing damage with the crit and stuns the orc, meaning that he loses 1 normal attack.
Urgalik does damage with his attack.
And Carl eliminates the Burna Boy.
The Burna Boy died in a somewhat sad way. I mean, Hodor's scene was so much more emotional.
3 wounds left to Carl. Thanks to the ability Creeping Shadow, my Sanctus can dash for free whenever he fights, so he dashes toward the tank and does the action Cypher Resource.
The Slasha has witnessed the scene of his companion, the Guardian of the Door. Excited to have found a worthy opponent, charges the Sanctus. Once in combat, he fights him, making 4 attacks at 3+. I don't think you need to roll the dice.
Yeah, he's dead, but he will be remembered for his actions. Brick changes his order to engage and dashes outside the door. Then aims his cannon to the orc sniper and makes 6 shots at 4+. Rerolling the 2s. 4 hits!
5+ to save. 2 dice defended, so 2 shots pass. 4 wounds suffered by the Sniper Boy. Ludwig spots the Genestealer who shot him and with a grim shoots him back. 6 shots at 3+. 4 hit.
Ouch! Saving with 3 dice at 5+. Nice! 1 crit save and 1 normal save are enough to leave him alive with only 1 wound. Manny disengages from the fog with the Nob and hides behind his friend.
Toby uses his grappling hook ability and reaches the other side of the room. Arriving near the door, he uses his remaining action to open it. You have a new job, Toby. The Usher.
Nick tries again to shoot the comms and makes 4 shots at 4+. Hit into crits and a normal hit.
5+ to defend. Well, at least he made a 6. 5 wounds suffered and 5 left.
With his last action, Nick hides behind the control panel, and since he's visible to the leader, I can use the tactical ploys Link into Darkness for free and change the Agon Barret's order in Conceal.
Unfortunately, the comms is too far to reach the fight, so he decides to use movement and dash to go to the other room.
Seed activates, and with his movement, he manages to cross the hallway. Once in the other room, he closes the door behind him. The other adept instead changes his order and engage and fights with the Breacha Boy, making 4 attacks at 4+ thanks to the Cult Knife. Rerolling the 2 thanks to Cult Ambush. Well, I guess the orc is just dead.
There was nothing to do. Even the Breacha leaves us.
And with his last action, Stuart runs away to safety.
The Daka Boy moves and positions himself in front of the door to have a good line of sight against the seismic cannon and shoots him. 5 shots at 4+. 3 successful hits.
This will be hard, saving with 3 dice at 5+. No! He almost did it! Unlucky, mate. See you next life. This turn was absolutely good. At the moment, I managed to perform the mission action twice, meaning that I have 4 victory points and Simone has 9. Also, I have an operative near the location token, so I gain 1 victory point reaching 5. I can still win. I have all my operatives right where they should be. I just need the initiative in the next round.
Okay, maybe more orcs died than I wanted, especially losing the Breacher was a hard blow to bear. The lower area of the map is under my control and there Andrea can do nothing to counter me. The upper area is a problem. I have to come up with something to be able to stop him before he extracts more resources. I need to win the initiative roll.
Rolling for initiative? Yes, the initiative is mine again!
Failing at important moments. How wonderful. In the strategy phase, I reveal the TAC Op Upload Viral Code. With 2 APLs, I can take an action within 6 inches of the enemy drop zone to earn a victory point.
The first operative to activate is Sid. With his movement, he reaches the defender's kill zone edge and performs the action Interlope. I reveal the TAC Op Interloper. Then I remove the Adept and gain 2 victory points. The second to move is Steward, that reaches the tank and does the action Siphon Resource, bringing me to 9 victory points total.
The Comms uses the ability to give an additional APL to the Grot, then moves and reaches the point of interest. Being the Comms, he has the option to perform a free mission action, so he decides to turn off the point of interest.
The Locust changes his order in engage and charges the Dakaboy outside the door, then fights and makes 5 attacks at 2+. Hitting all!
Defending with 3 attacks at 3+. Nope. Attacking the Locust first, the critical hit is enough to kill the Orc. The Dakaboy is eliminated.
The Locust has the ability Expert Swordsman, that allows him to fight twice, and whenever he fights, he can perform a free charge action. So, he reaches the Sniper and fights with him as well, making 5 attacks at 2+. Hitting all again! You're amazing, Diego!
3 more attacks at 3+ of the Sniper Boy. 2 attacks hit, but again, that's not enough to make a difference. The Sniper Boy is also dead.
And finally, I can reveal my last TAC Op, Capture Hostage and Infiltrate. I remove Locust from the battlefield and gain 2 more victory points, reaching 11 total.
Turuk charges at the enemy leader, blocking the escape of the 2 Genestealers inside the corridor. Then he fights, making 4 attacks at 3+. Hit!
With just 1 wound left, Manny can't do anything, so he's just removed from the battlefield. Alan uses movement and dash to reach the location token.
Toby moves next to the wall, within 6 inches of the enemy drop zone, and thanks to the additional APL received from the comms, he can perform the action Upload Viral Code, earning a victory point.
Nick is stuck between 2 orcs, so he just passes his turn.
The last to activate is the Nob, who charges the Genestealer with the icon, then fights, making 4 attacks at 3+. Here comes the critical hit.
Since his crit deals 7 wounds, I don't need to roll the dice. Nick is dead. Butch has nothing to do, so he just sits and passes his turn. At the end of the round, I gain 1 more victory points for the TAC Op Nowhere Unreachable. The final score is 12 victory points for the Genestealer cult and 10 victory points for the orcs, meaning that this game goes to the cult.
Damn! I lost by very few victory points! The game was decided completely by the last initiative roll. It was a tight game and Andrea played well. I didn't expect he could win this game given the difficulty of the mission and the good position my orcs had. In hindsight, I could have done a couple of things differently, but overall, I'm satisfied. My dear orc survivors, you may return to your ships and have a good brawling party.
This mission was so hard to play. Simone really did a great job on blocking my operatives, but thanks to the initiative being mine all the rounds, I was able to play my game and not Simone's. I don't think I made many mistakes in this match, but I'm sure I could have played much better to make my life easier. Eventually I did win, so I'm happy and I'm proud of my cult.
And with this, we conclude. If you like our content and want to help us grow the channel, we have an account on the platform Buy Me a Coffee where you can support us with donations. Any help you can give us to improve the channel is welcome. We are counting on you. The link is in description.
And if you have come this far, write the word Siphon in the comments to let us know. You are the best. And if you are not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, leave a like and write us in the comments. We are always curious to know what you think.
That's it, guys!
See you next video!